My name is Sarah. I am 38 years old. I live in a small house with my husband, Michael, and our 2 children. Michael is 40 years old. We have been married for 15 years. We have a son, Jake, who is 10, and a daughter, Emma, who is 8. They are my world. Our mornings are always busy. I pack lunches, help Emma tie her shoes, and remind Jake not to forget his school books. Michael usually drinks his coffee and reads the news. He gives me a quick smile before heading out to work. At dinner, we sit together, sharing stories about our day. Jake loves to tell jokes, and Emma sings little songs she makes up. I thought we were happy. I trusted Michael. I believed he loved us. Life wasn't perfect, but I thought it was good enough. Looking back now, I see I was wrong. A few months ago, Michael started changing. At first, it was small things. He came home later than usual, saying work was busy. He started taking calls in another room. When I asked who it was, he said, "Just a client." Then, the changes became bigger. Michael began traveling more often. He said he had business trips, but he didn't tell me much about them. When he came home, he was quiet and distant. He stopped asking about my day, or laughing at Jake's jokes. Sometimes, he wouldn't even finish dinner. I tried to talk to him. "Is something wrong?" I asked. "You seem different." He looked at me and said, "I'm just tired, Sarah. I'm working hard for this family." I wanted to believe him, but I couldn't ignore the feeling in my heart. Something wasn't right. I started noticing small clues. Once, I found a receipt for a fancy restaurant I didn't recognize. Another time, his phone buzzed late at night, and he quickly turned it off. I told myself not to worry. Maybe I was imagining things, but deep down, I knew the truth. Michael was hiding something. I just didn't know what. One evening, while Michael was on another business trip, I decided to clean his home office. As I opened a drawer to put away some papers, I saw something strange. A small envelope. Inside, there was a hotel receipt. It was for 2 people. My heart started racing. The name listed next to his was not mine. I stared at it for a long time. My hands were shaking. Who was this woman? Why was he at a hotel with her? My mind was spinning with questions. That night, I couldn't sleep. I felt a knot in my stomach. The next morning, I decided to check his phone. I felt guilty, but I needed answers. When I looked, I found photos. Michael smiling with another woman and 2 children. They looked happy. My heart sank. I scrolled through his messages. He called her Lisa, and he told her things I hadn't heard in years. "I miss you. I love you." I couldn't breathe. It hit me like a storm. Michael didn't just have another woman. He had another family. Tears streamed down my face. I whispered to myself, how could he do this? How long has he been lying to me? My world was falling apart. After discovering the truth, I felt like my heart had been ripped out. I couldn't stop crying. I stayed in bed for hours, staring at the ceiling. My mind was full of questions. How long had this been going on? Why did he do this to me? To our family? I felt a mix of emotions: anger, sadness, and deep betrayal. I thought about all the times I had trusted Michael, all the nights I waited for him to come home, all the love I gave him. It felt like none of it mattered. I tried to hide my pain from Jake and Emma. When they came home from school, I forced a smile. But Emma asked, "Mommy, are you okay? You look sad." Her little voice broke me. I hugged her tightly, whispering, "I'm fine, sweetheart." That night, I couldn't eat. I sat in the dark, replaying everything I'd seen. I thought about Lisa and the other children. Did they know about me? About Jake and Emma? I felt trapped. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think clearly. My life felt like a lie. I asked myself, what do I do now? How can I face him? How can I protect my children from this pain? I couldn't keep it inside any longer. When Michael came home from his trip, I waited until the children were asleep. My hands were shaking as I sat him down in the living room. I know about Lisa, I said quietly, my voice trembling. I know about her. And the children. Michael froze. His face went pale. What are you talking about? He stammered. Don't lie to me, I said, holding up the hotel receipt and his phone. I've seen the pictures. I've read the messages. You've been living a double life. For a moment, he didn't say anything. Then, he let out a long sigh. I didn't want you to find out, he said. I was trying to protect you. Protect me? I shouted, my voice breaking. You broke me. You broke our family. He tried to explain, saying it just happened, and that he never meant to hurt me. But his words felt empty. I asked him, How long? How long have you been lying to me? 4 years, he admitted. I felt like the ground was falling beneath me. Tears streamed down my face as I whispered, How could you do this to us? For the first time, I saw guilt in his eyes, but it wasn't enough to fix what he had broken. After the confrontation, I felt empty. The pain was still fresh, but I knew I couldn't let it consume me. I had to be strong for myself and for my children. One morning, I called my best friend Anna. She had always been there for me. When I told her everything, she listened quietly. Then she said, Sarah, you didn't deserve this, but you are stronger than you think. You can get through this. Her words gave me a spark of hope. I started doing small things for myself. I went for walks in the park, feeling the cool breeze on my face. I picked up a book I had been meaning to read for years. I even wrote in a journal, pouring out all my feelings. Looking at Jake and Emma reminded me why I needed to heal. They deserved a mother who was happy and present. I wanted to show them that even when life is hard, we can find a way to keep going. I also began to see my own worth. I wasn't just a wife or a mother. I was a person with dreams, strength, and value. For the first time in years, I started to believe in myself again. I knew the journey wouldn't be easy, but I was ready to take the first step. After weeks of thinking, I realized I couldn't stay in the same place emotionally. I sat down with Michael one evening, and we talked honestly. Do you want to fix this? I asked him. Not just for the children, but for us? Michael hesitated before saying, Yes, I do. I made mistakes, but I want to make things right. I looked at him and said, Words aren't enough anymore. If we stay together, things have to change. He nodded, but I told him I needed time. For now, I decided to focus on my children and myself. I started taking small steps toward a better life, making family dinners special again, helping Emma with her songs, and laughing at Jake's silly jokes. I didn't know what the future held, but I knew one thing. I was stronger now. Whatever happened, I would face it with courage and hope. Sarah's story isn't just hers. It's a story of resilience, heartbreak, and finding strength. How many people out there are facing the same struggles, feeling lost and alone? Your like, share, and subscribe aren't just clicks. They're a way to help stories like this reach someone who needs it most. If this story touched you, please hit like, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to help us create more stories that inspire strength and healing. Your support means everything.